This man is drunk. Wait, am I drunk? I'm nobody. Yes, you do have a problem. God's got this. No, I got this. You're stupid. You're dumb. I'm a father. I'm a husband. I'm a son. I'm a leader. I am Marcus J. Scott. I'm Marcus J. Scott, author of The Drunken Preacher, here to encourage critical thinking, social awareness, advocate growth, resilience, provide hope, and help you find faith.
Yeah, we back again. Welcome to another edition of the Drunken Preacher Podcast. I'm Marcus J. Scott, and man, I tell you, what a weekend we've had, and what a week coming up. Man, I am getting ready to head across the state of Florida. We got a lot of things happening this month, actually over the next couple of months. Over the next couple of months, I'll be traveling around the state, visiting schools, and speaking with the youth in those schools about what they're going to do after high school. And so God has opened up a door for me to be able to go around the state and speak to schools in different cities and different communities. And I'm just super excited about that. And in thinking about all the things that have been happening and all the things that God has been showing me, doors that have been opening, places and people that I've been able to come in contact with that are just, man, I tell you, it's just been such a blessing. And so as I begin to climb, as I begin to grow, as I begin to be on what I believe is another level, something that God said, you know, all this stuff you went through, I was preparing you. And so now you got to get ready for this climb. Today, I want to talk about the cost of the climb. Yeah, I want to talk about the cost of the climb. You know, we often want to celebrate all the, you know, the good things, you know, whether it be more money, whether it be some people more power. You know, they want to oversee stuff. They want to be in charge. They want to call the shots. But we celebrate, you know, going higher. We celebrate a higher degree. We celebrate more money or promotion on the job. We celebrate the things that are whatever we consider the next level is, but nobody talks about the cost of the climb. Nobody talks about what it costs to climb higher. And so today I just want to share or talk about some things as we talk about this thing called climbing to another level. Yeah, we're asking God to allow us to climb to another level. Yeah, let me get to the next level. I'm ready to go, God. You know, I'm ready to bless me with more money. Bless me with the promotion. Bless me with a wife. Bless me with a husband. Bless me with that next level. Bless me with that the new car. Bless me with the big house. Bless me with the higher degree. Bless me with the business. Allow my business to go from making $10,000 to $50,000 to $100,000 to $1 million. But then we don't talk about what it costs to get there. We don't talk about what it takes to get there. Sometimes it costs you habit. Sometimes it costs comfort. Yeah, sometimes it costs comfort. You know, it's crazy to me how people say, I want to work for myself when they're going to a job. But what does it cost you to work for yourself, especially in the beginning? You go to work, and whether you do half the work, all the work, as long as you show up and you there, you get a paycheck. Nobody makes you get up and do your business. And if you don't do your business, if you don't work, you don't eat. So what does it cost you? Are you going to be comfortable working much longer hours? I often tell people that I coach, I often tell them, you're going to get rid of your 9 to 5 to work 5 to 9. Yeah, because usually when you start a business, you work 5 to 9, 5 a.m. in the morning to 9 o'clock at night. You're usually working much longer hours. And so you have to ask yourself, what is it going to cost to climb? What is it going to cost to climb? You know, the reality of growth is you cannot climb higher while holding on to everything from the level below. Yeah, you cannot climb higher holding on to everything from the level below. I'm often thinking about people who, climb mountains or go really high. They don't take a whole lot of stuff. They don't take a whole lot of stuff. And we're going to get into it here in a little bit, but not everybody can go with you because not everybody can breathe at those altitudes. Not everybody can be at the same altitudes that you're trying to go. And so sometimes it's going to cost you relationships. Sometimes it's going to cost you relationships from the people you love. Sometimes it's the people who love us or the ones we're closest to that are ones that are holding us down or holding us back or pulling on us so much that it's taking extra energy. And we can't go no higher because we got weight on us. So I ask you again, what is it going to cost? You're asking for the next level. You're asking for bigger and better. But are you asking yourself, what is it going to cost? And so the first thing I want you to know is every level requires a new version of you. Yeah, every level requires a new version of yourself. You have to be a better version of yourself at the next level. Growth demands transformation. Yeah, growth demands transformation. You can't reach a new level with an old mindset. So let me put this in perspective. Some people say, I want to make more money. So if you're making 60, 70, 80,000, even $100,000, you might be pretty good. But a lot of people, they like, I'm ready to make millions. But right after you get over 250,000 on average, you're in another tax bracket. Do you know what it takes to operate making more than 250,000? I've made more than 250,000, and it takes a whole different. I had to have an accountant. Some people are like, oh yeah, I can't handle stuff like that on my own. I need to get some help, especially my first time over 250,000. You're in a totally different tax bracket. You end up, if you're not careful, paying more money to the government and not keeping it all and being way under. Why? Because you potentially living outside the means of what is going to cost you in taxes, and then you end up over leveraging yourself. In one of my classes, I talk about over leveraging. Have I over leveraged before? Yes, that's how I know about it. Over leveraging is a thing. But when you talk about climbing and going high, it's going to cost something, but you can't have the same mindset. You can't have the same mindset of, I just want to buy everything I see or I want. Now you got to focus on more taxes, because here's the other part. You say you want to run the business. Well, when you operate in the business, they don't take out taxes like they do at the job. You got to have a new mindset. When you get married, you say you want a relationship, you want a husband, you want a wife, you want a spouse, you want a significant other. It's not just about you. You got to have a totally different mindset. You got to transform the way you think. And so the level you want requires a version of you that you haven't fully become yet. Romans, I'm going to throw some scriptures in here. Romans 12:2 says, Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Yeah. We have to be transformed by the way we think. Reflection requires you to think differently about how you operate. You have to reflect on how you're going to operate if you want to move to a new level. What version of you is required for the level you are preparing for? That's what you have to think. What version of you is required for the level you're praying for? You're asking God, hey, take me to this new level, but are you prepared to be a better version of yourself? Are you prepared to be a better version of yourself and change your mindset, renew how you think? Again, people want more money, but we don't want to budget right. We don't want to learn how to budget. We don't want to learn how to ask for help and understand that if we want to make more than a certain amount, that might cause us to be in a different tax bracket. And so we're going to have to change the way we think. And so not only does it require a better version of yourself in transformation, but secondly, the higher you climb, the lighter you need to travel. Yeah, the higher you climb, the lighter you need to travel. I talked about going up a mountain. When you're going up a mountain and you're climbing high, you can't carry a lot of weight. You can't have a whole bunch of stuff on your back and, on the side and all around you. Things that weigh you down, you got to let go of some of that. What are some of those things? Toxic relationships, comfort zones. We talked about being comfortable. You want to get to a new level? I tell people all the time, you're going to have seasons where you don't hardly get no sleep. Yeah, if you want to go to a whole totally different level, there's going to be some seasons where you don't hardly get any sleep. That's going to be uncomfortable, especially if you like to sleep. Old identities, fear of disappointing people, unhealthy habits. I finally got to a level, a stage, an area in my life where I have to say no sometimes, and I'm okay with that. I'm not going to be able to do that. Right now, I'm going to have to say no. Right now, I'm not going to be able to take on that. Are you strong enough to say no? Are you strong enough to say no to some people who are close to you? Are you willing to lose certain relationships and friendships based on they may not accept you can't go hang out with them all the time? They might not accept that you can't call them all the time. They might not accept that you can't talk to them as much, especially if it's toxic. If all they're doing is calling you and gossiping, if all they're doing is calling you and pulling you down or putting weight on you with a bunch of problems and all kind of stuff and not trying to be positive and help you to move forward, are you willing to say, hey, I can't do that in this season? And so are you willing to let go of some things? Because the higher you climb, the more intentional you must be about what you carry. Yeah, the higher you climb, the more intentional you must be about what you carry. And so, third, sometimes the cost is people. Yeah, sometimes the cost is people, which I just talked about. There are some people who are just you're going to have to let go. The first person that comes to my mind when Jesus went to go pray, he took some people. Then when he went higher, he took a little less amount of the disciples. He only took like 3. But then he went even higher. He was by himself. When he went to the wilderness, he was by himself. When he did certain things, he was by himself. And so the higher you go, the smaller the circle gets. Not everyone is meant for every level of your life. And so I also think about Abraham and Lot. They loved each other, but their growth created tension because their lives expanded. So they separated not because of the hatred, but because of capacity. Yeah, they didn't separate because of hatred. They separated because of capacity. Sometimes separation is not betrayal. Sometimes it's preparation. That's good. Sometimes it's not betrayal. Sometimes it's preparation. Some of the friends and the people that you're around, they're not going down the same path as you. I can't hang out with certain people now that I'm in ministry and going down the path. And I mean, I stopped it a long time ago. But there's just some people that, because there's some people that still just want to hang out and go to the clubs and, do all the stuff that I'm not even attracted to or want to do anymore. And so it's not that I don't like them. It's not that I got anything against them. That's just not where I am. And that's not where God is having me to go. And so sometimes it's going to cost some people. Letting go does not mean you stop loving them. Letting them go does not mean you're disrespecting them. Letting them go is not erase the history. Sometimes it simply means your paths are now different. Sometimes it's different. And so we have to be willing to let go of some people. Not only that, comfort is the enemy of the climb. Yeah. Comfort is the enemy of the climb. Yeah, people like to stay where they are because it's uncomfortable sometimes to grow. Sometimes it's just uncomfortable. And people don't like to be uncomfortable. That's another thing, even with change. Whenever somebody comes in and say, all right, we want to change some things because we want to be a better organization or we want a better situation, I don't like that way. That's not how we've always done it. It's uncomfortable to change. It's uncomfortable to grow. It's uncomfortable to be better. A lot of people who watch me and follow me on social media, they notice I walk and I jog and I exercise all the time. And, hey, yeah, I really need to lose some weight. I really want to get out there with you. But then when I text them in the morning or when I call or when I say, all right, let's go, it's 4:30 in the morning. Oh, man, why we got to get up so late? You still eating cookies and ice cream? If you want to lose weight and be healthy, it's going to be uncomfortable, especially in the beginning. Getting up every day to exercise, putting down the comfort foods, ice cream, cake, sweet sugars. But because you want to be comfortable, that's the enemy. Not allowing you to grow. Comfort is the enemy. Comfort is the enemy of the climb. And so you have to be willing to be uncomfortable. You got to be comfortable being uncomfortable. Yeah, you got to become comfortable being uncomfortable. And so there are some mornings I wake up that I just don't feel like getting up out of bed. I don't feel like moving. I don't feel like exercising. But I'm like, I don't want to go back to the doctor and he back to saying, hey, you're getting back to the borderline again. We might have to put you on these pills. I don't want to get back to a situation where I'm having to take pills. If I could just get up on the days I don't feel like it and go exercise, go walk, go jog. I just got off a men's group not too long ago, and I've always said this, but they just reminded me, you either gonna pay for it now or you're gonna pay for it later. And so are you willing to be uncomfortable now to grow at a level or go to the next level that you want to go? Or are you going to be comfortable, stay where you are, and then pay for it later because you didn't want to be uncomfortable now? And so comfort keeps more people stuck than failure ever will. Yeah, comfort keeps more people stuck than failure ever will. Genesis 12 says, shows that God told Abraham, leave your country, your people, and your father's household. So before the promise, there was departure. Before he got the promise, he had departure. He had to depart. And so we got to be willing to move, even if it means leaving an area we're comfortable with and including some people we're comfortable being around. And so maybe the reason your life feels heavy right now is because you're trying to climb while carrying things that were only meant for the last season. Maybe it's heavy for you right now because you're still trying to carry stuff that's in your past, stuff that was last year or the year before or 2 years ago or 5 years ago. And you're still carrying that weight, whether it's people, whether it's habits, mindsets, environments. If you're ready to grow, you got to be willing to let go of some stuff. It is going to cost you to climb. It has cost me to climb. Some of the stuff that I still consistently do now is uncomfortable, but the more uncomfortable I get, the more I know God is doing a work in my life. Some things that I know is going to blow my mind. Some things that when I think I see it, I always say, God, it must gonna be bigger than that, because this is what I see. But the things that you have me doing and me wanting to be obedient to you, it's got to be greater. And so are you willing to be uncomfortable? Are you willing to recognize the cost of what it's going to take to climb to where you want to go? And so what level are you praying for? What version of you is required to reach it? And what might you need to release to climb? Those are the questions I want you to ask yourself. What level are you praying for? What version of you is it going to require for you to reach it? And what might you need to release the climb? So just think about those for a moment. I appreciate you. You know, we're always here every Monday. Every Monday, we're always here. The cost of the climb. I'm super excited about what God is doing. And just so you know, we are getting ready to release some music for the Drunken Preacher soundtrack. Yes, we are doing the Drunken Preacher soundtrack. I believe I shared it on here already, but look out for it in Apple Music, Amazon, Spotify. Yeah, it's going to be everywhere. And man, I can't wait. We're going to release a couple singles first, and then we're going to eventually release the album. But we're still working on some things with my cousin, Stellar Production, who is a big time producer. I'm super excited about that. And so let's look out. Oh, I need to give myself some horns. Yeah. Look out for the Drunken Preacher Podcast soundtrack. It's going to be everywhere. I appreciate your support. Love you guys, and I'm thankful for each and every one of you who follow me. Don't forget to share, subscribe, and like Marcus J. Scott 4040. Marcus J. Scott 4040. Like and share the podcast with someone if it has encouraged you. All right, that's my time. Remember, always have a heart of gratitude and the strength to keep moving forward. God bless you.
It's your time. Yeah. Drunken Preacher.